What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love and Marriage Detroit, Season 1, Episode 4, Skating on Thin Ice. So we start off where we left off last week, which was on the boat with Anthony and LaToya. They're on a boat, on a little boat ride with their friends, which is also a couple. And this is where Anthony had a complete meltdown because once again, he's talking about Atlanta and how, he didn't have any support from LaToya or her family about him wanting to work in Atlanta at Disney Marvel to jumpstart his career in film and television. He had nobody's support and he had to leave that project and come back home to Detroit. So he's having a complete meltdown, which to me, I was just like, what is happening? Why are we, first of all, why are we even talking about this now? We're supposed to be enjoying this wonderful boat ride with our friends. Why are these very deep personal marital issues coming up now? And so now you got this grown man crying and boohooing. I have no problem with a man crying, but I was like, why are you crying about something that happened a while back, like 3 years ago? Number one, it happened 3 years ago. It's like, this is still not resolved. Y'all were going to counseling every single week. Y'all lived together. So the whole entire time that y'all were living together in this house, this could not have been brought up at any point. It has to be brought up now, 3 years later, on this boat trip in front of these people, because these people looked really uncomfortable. The friends looked really uncomfortable to have to witness a grown man break down, and they're witnessing this couple going through this marital problem, and oh child, I was just like very and then you can't do nothing. You can't jump in the water and escape it. You can't be like, oh, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and powder my nose. You're stuck. You are a trapped witness to this meltdown. So he's crying about how LaToya's family didn't support him, and all this emotion just shows. And this is what LaToya told him. She goes, "So you still resent me for making you come back home?" He was like, "No, I don't resent." Yes, you do. You resent her. Now, one thing I'm realizing about Anthony is that he is not. He's not comfortable with the truth. He's not comfortable with facts because he wants to always paint a picture. I've noticed that he's done this a couple of times. He has constantly compared his marriage to everybody else's and said that, oh, me and my wife are straight. Me and LaToya, we're straight. We're good. We're good. Evidently, you're not good if you're breaking down on a boat trip in front of your friends over something that happened 3 years ago. So yes, there is still a lot of resentment that he has towards his wife about, having to leave Atlanta to come back home to Detroit. So I felt like I don't even know. I mean, the thought that he had this opportunity to work with Disney Marvel and jumpstart his television and film career, I'm like, why wouldn't LaToya support that? Like, what does she think was really going on over there? Why wouldn't she want her husband to pursue his dreams in doing that? Because it wasn't like he was never going to come back. Why couldn't they talk about, either him living in both cities or even possibly them moving down to Atlanta? I don't understand why this was such a breaking point in their marriage, but who knows? Moving on to Kolby and Russell. Russell and Kolby, the friend Chelsea comes over. This is Kolby's friend, and first her and Kolby talk about Chelsea Chelsea and Russell talk about Kolby's birthday party. So Russell is planning a surprise birthday party for his wife Kolby, and he's Chelsea, I guess, is going to be handling the party, being the event planner for the party. So having a conversation about that. After that, Chelsea goes upstairs to talk to Kolby. Kolby tells her that she has reached out to a very big, a major brand in Detroit called Harper Ray. I think they make jewelry because Christina has a necklace that has HR, and she's been wearing it throughout this whole entire season so far. And I was always wondering, what the hell does HR stand for? Because it's not her initials. I was so lost about what that HR stood for, but now I know. Because she works for the company, or she has a brand deal, or she's collabing with the company, whatever you want to call it, she's promoting their jewelry on the show. So Kolby tells her friend Chelsea that she reached out to Harper Ray letting them know that she wanted to work with them. And they were like, yeah, your friend, Christina, she's already working with us. So maybe you and her can get together and do a collaboration for us. That's how Christina presented it. Now, the first question mark that popped into my head was, how would Harper Ray know? Because the way she told the story, it was as if Harper Ray were like, oh, we know that you're friends with Christina, so y'all should get together on this. That's how she presented the story, because she didn't say that she mentioned to them that she was working with one of their other brand ambassadors, Christina, or that she knew one of their other brand ambassadors, Christina. So it seemed kind of strange to me that this big company just automatically knew that Christina and Kolby knew each other and suggested that they work together. So Kolby then tells Chelsea that she texted Christina, hey, how about we work together with this whole Harper Ray thing? And she said that Christina didn't really respond. Well, she did respond, but she said she was confused about the text. I really do think that Kolby brought it up to Harper Ray that she knew Christina, and I think it was her idea that maybe her and Christina worked together. I don't think that idea came from Harper Ray. Christina and Brandon. So we know that Brandon then left the house after the wine event because him and Christina got into that big old argument where he was basically telling everybody at the wine event that his wife is insecure and, you know, his wife doesn't support him and, you know, she doesn't let him do this and she don't let him do that. So his career is stifled. Of course, he was drinking a lot. Alcohol had a lot to do with how he was acting, but how he was acting was absolutely wrong. I think in public, you should always support your spouse, even if you secretly hate them. When you're in public, you support your damn spouse. You don't expose marital issues to everybody, and you stand by your spouse. Just total period. And he didn't. He was like, oh, my wife is insecure because she don't let me do nothing. Wrong, wrong, wrong. So he's been gone for a couple of days and they're supposed to have a meeting with their marriage mentors. And so he does show up for that. And they talk to their marriage mentors about their issues and what happened at the wine event, et cetera, et cetera. The marriage mentors gave some really good advice. And so at the end of the day, I guess Brandon was like, yeah, I acted up. I was wrong. I'm sorry, baby. So they kiss and they make up. Moving on from there, Anthony and LaToya. So they're on their way to church, and LaToya's dad and mom are the head of the church. Her dad is the bishop. I think her mom's the pastor. I don't know. So they're on their way to church with their kids, and before church, when they're driving there, LaToya tells them, you know what, you need to have a conversation with my dad about how you've been feeling for the past 3 years about this whole Atlanta situation. And once again, like I said, Anthony doesn't like to face the truth. He's like, no, I'm good. And she's like, evidently you're not good because you had a whole entire breakdown on the damn boat. You need to have a conversation with my dad about it. So after church, Anthony does approach her father in the parking lot and he tells the dad, you know, when I went to Atlanta, I wanted to do ABCD, but I had to come back home and I felt like the family was not supporting me in my career endeavors. And the dad was like, you needed to be home. The dad wasn't trying to hear nothing about no Atlanta. His father-in-law was like, you needed to be home because there was like a crisis going on in your house. Your kid was going to this all-white school facing all kinds of racism and my daughter had to deal with that by her damn self and you needed to be home. So now he didn't say it quite like that. He had a little bit more tact, but still, that it wasn't we feel so bad, Anthony. Yeah, you're right. We should have supported. No, it was none of. You needed to be home. So Anthony, I think, really just wanted this opportunity just to get it off his chest, to let the family know how he felt, because he probably never told the family that he felt unsupported and that he felt like they looked at him like a deadbeat dad or an absentee dad, like someone who's just more interested in chasing his career instead of being home with his family. And he was not that at all, because he was doing this for his family. So he just has some stuff to get off his chest. He knew that the father-in-law was not going to be like, oh, you're right, Anthony, we should have supported you. He knew that it wasn't going to go down like that, because LaToya was probably crying to her parents morning, noon, and night about, where's my husband? My husband gone. I need my husband to come back home. So the family was very persuaded by LaToya, and they felt her pain, and they were going to side with her regardless. So it was just an opportunity for Anthony to get some stuff off his chest. He talked about it with his father-in-law. The father-in-law gave him a hug. There's still a lot of love between these two people. So there's no love lost. Everything's good. Can we move on and not bring up Atlanta and Disney Marvel anymore? Kolby and Russell. So Russell goes to look at the damn gym because he wants to buy a gym. He goes to the damn gym to do like a walkthrough with the owner of the gym. So the owner of the gym, talks about the ups and downs of owning a gym and whatever. And I'm looking at this gym and I'm like, did Russell ever question the owner? Why are you selling it? Is it because you're not making any money? Because that gym was empty. There was probably like 2 people in there working out. 2 people. It was empty. I thought they shut it down for this scene. I was like, oh, okay, it's empty because they probably shut it down to be able to shoot the scene. And you don't want to get all these releases from a whole bunch of customers or a whole bunch of patrons to, sign off all these releases about being seen on whatever. But no, it was open because there were 2 people in there working out. Yeah, only 2 people in there working out. So like, Russell, you're really doing your research. Did you ask him, why are you selling this gym? Because it could be because it's not a profit. It's not making any kind of profit. And the guy told him, it's going to take about 2 or 3 years before you really see your return. And Russell was like, oh, I can do that in less time than that. Okay, we'll see. Gym and churches are very, 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 I think very oversaturated. So I don't know how you're going to turn it around, Russell. Anthony and LaToya. So they invite everybody to the skating rink. Everybody shows up. So Russell has a conversation with Kolby and tells her about his meeting with this gym owner and how he's like 85% sure he wants to buy this gym. And Kolby's like, hold up. The last time we talked about the gym, you were telling me that you were just thinking about buying a gym. Now you're going to meetings and meeting up with the owner and you're 85% in. Like, how come you're not consulting with me? And he's like, consulting you for what? He's like, eventually I'm gonna come around and tell you what's going on, but I don't got to consult you while I'm doing it or before I do it. I'm gonna go ahead and make my decisions and do what I got to do. And then I'm gonna catch you up on it later. And I'm like, okay, so he's one of those men. Evidently probably has no respect for women or their opinions, and he just feels like I'm gonna do what I want and you're supposed to support me. And I think this is what happens when women tell their husbands all the time, you're the head of the household, because they're gonna act like the head of the household and not consult, because he's not consulting her with anything. He just makes the decisions and explains it to her later, and eventually she kind of like puts up a fight and like, how come you didn't tell me? But then eventually she just kind of steps in line and it's like, okay. So he knows he can do whatever the hell he wants. She's gonna fuss a little bit at the beginning, but then eventually she's gonna go along and agree with me. So Russell says there's going to be a conversation. There are going to be conversations that you're not going to be a part of. And I was like, he told her that to her face. And so he says, my job is to cast the vision. Your job is to help me facilitate the vision. All of this discussion about his visions and what he wants to do. What about her vision? Does she have any plans for herself and her career? Or is this just the Russell show? After that, Anthony talks to the guys and he says he's going to be having a man's movement meeting. And he's talking about how men have to black men have to reclaim their position in their community, because for so long, women have been holding it down. They're the ones raising the children. They're the ones going out, getting the education, going to college. They're the ones that are keeping these communities together because, the black men are either dead, incarcerated, or run away. So he has this thing about we need to reclaim our positions in our communities, in our homes. So he's going to have a man's movement meeting. So the other 2 guys are like, yeah, we're down. And Brandon has all these ideas about entertainment and networking and all this and that. So at this particular point, everybody's getting along. So then Christina and Kolby, they have a conversation about this whole Harper Ray brand situation. And so basically, I'm just going to try to sum it all up. Your girl Kolby was like, you know what? I reached out to you about this whole Harper Ray situation, but you never really responded. And at first, Christina was like, well, I was going through my own thing with my husband. And by the way, I don't really remember you checking up on me on that. And Kolby was like, I did try to call you to check up on you to see how you were doing. And Christina was like, I don't really remember. I remember the text message about Harper Ray, but I don't remember any phone calls from you. So right there, it was going downhill fast. So then they talk about, Christina says, I got in touch with Harper Ray. They had this idea that you and I should work together on this brand deal with them. And keep in mind that Christina previously had already had a conversation with her husband, Brandon, about how Brandon thought that Kolby was constantly stealing Christina's ideas when it came to their whole social media influencer careers. And so Brandon was like, telling her it seems like Kolby is constantly biting off of your ideas. And Christina defended Kolby and says, no, she's not really doing that. She's like my little sis, and I'm just, helping her out, and I'm going to influence her. So she's influenced by me. So, but when it came to this Harper Ray brand deal, Christina was singing a completely different tune. So Kolby tells her, I reached out to Harper Ray. They said that you and I should collab. And we've been wanting to do a collaboration for a very long time, but it's never really, it's never really taken off. We never really had any action behind the words. And so Christina was like, well, when we talked about collabing, I thought we were talking about doing like a day in our life, a get ready with me, or whatever, something like that. I didn't really think you were talking about collabing on a brand deal. And Kolby was like, of course I'm talking about collabing on a brand deal. And then Christina was like, you were? Okay, so what brands did you bring to the table? If that's what you had wanted to do this whole entire time, what brands did you bring to the table? And Kolby's like, none. And Christina was like, that's my point. So I'm working with Harper Ray. All of a sudden, you want to collab on a brand deal with Harper Ray after finding out that I'm working with Harper Ray. And so then Kolby was like, well, what's wrong with that? It's collabing. What's wrong with that? There's enough room at the top for everybody. There's enough money to go around for everyone. Like, what's wrong if me and you work together with Harper Ray? And I think Christina was like, she put in the work, or whatever she did, she put in the work to get this brand endorsement with Harper Ray. And I think that Kolby, it was easy for her to get on board with Harper Ray because I think she mentioned Christina's name. Christina could be one of their top endorsers, or whatever you want to call it, their top marketers or sellers, I don't know. And because maybe Christina has like a really big platform, or at least a bigger platform than Kolby. So I think Kolby mentioned Christina's name when she contacted Harper Ray, and Harper Ray was probably like, oh, Christina? Well, she's one of our top sellers. Yeah, see if you can do something with her. I think that's really how the conversation went. So Christina, she didn't like that because she probably worked really hard to get that brand deal with Harper Ray. And here comes Kolby, just kind of like riding on her coattails, real easy, sliding on in with Harper Ray, where she was the one that put in the work to even secure that deal. So now the men get involved. So the bottom line, Christina does not want to work with Kolby. She doesn't want to do it. So now the men get involved. And of course, Brandon backs up Christina, and Russell backs up Kolby. And then Brandon was like, yeah, I had even mentioned that I felt like, Kolby was biting on Christina. She's a Kolby cat. And Russell was like, excuse me? Now that you're calling my wife names, I'm going to have to address you directly. Like, what the hell did you just say? So now the men are getting into it now. Russell and Brandon. Now they're kind of getting into it. And so, yeah, it didn't go well at all. When Brandon called her a Kolby cat, Kolby was like, okay, I'm a Kolby cat my butt on out of here. So she got up and she left. So yeah, so my personal opinion about the whole Christina and Kolby thing, I don't know. Even though I kind of was like more on Christina's side, but at the same time, like, what's wrong with working together with Kolby on this deal? Unless, Christina feels like it was she put in a lot of hard work to get this brand deal. And I I don't know. Maybe Christina's just name dropped. I don't know. I don't know. But I was kind of really feeling more like on Christina's side. Kind of, sort of. Because Harper Ray, according to these people, I've never heard of Harper Ray, but according to Kolby and Christina, Harper Ray is like this really, really big company in Detroit. And so, I don't know. But we shall see what happens. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.